Ladies and gentlemen, if you've ever stood in front of a classroom full of adolescents, especially if they haven't been raised properly by their parents, it's an experience that I think many of us should have. Especially this piece of shit, this Bertha bastard. It's in the shit house. I can't call it the White House. It's the shit house. But considering my career as a teacher, I think my students were rough on me, but not as rough as they were on some others. I mean, I survived. I survived like 28 years in the New York City school system. I mean, it's a great, I wouldn't say it's a great feat, but it's, when you're dealing with all the personalities of the different children that you're working with, who come from all these various multi-backgrounds. Some places they have parents at home, some they don't, some aren't even living with parents, some are psychopathic, sociopathic, autistic, some kind of personality, ADD, all these issues, and you're supposed to teach them. And I did. I tried very hard. And I'm not saying that I was a great teacher. I was not. I had a temper. That was my one problem. I had a freaking temper, and that comes from growing up with a parent who had my father, who was suffering from severe post-traumatic stress from the battle experiences he had in World War II, and my mother, who was suffering from a bipolar, severe. I grew up with that, and the one thing I learned from them, the negative thing I learned from my father, was that temper. And you know something, let me tell you, the kids, some of them were afraid if I lost it, but sometimes they said, let's play him. Let's play, hey, make him lose his temper. Because, see, in the day of the school system I worked in, teachers weren't the authority. There was no authority. Teachers had to come in, be babysitters, while the parents worked and did their thing, whatever it was, but not raise the kids. I mean, if the kids came in with candy or with chips or with games or with do-rah, it was up to the teacher. We had to do everything, right? Except one thing, the main thing, teaching. Well, I had a temper, unfortunately, but you could see I got through it. I mean, I managed to get through it, but I did have a temper. If kids got on my nerve, did things that I didn't like, I displayed my anger. And I remember when I was a kid growing up, going to school, these teachers I had, they could display their anger any way they want. They had paddles. I mean, we're talking... I mean, my parents' generation, they were authoritarians. But in a positive way, teach the kids about the society, where they live in, how things are. I mean, you wouldn't believe the schools. When I grew up, I went to Hollywood High School, and I grew up in California. So, I went to Hollywood High School. I mean, we had newspapers, elections. The kids used to raise the flag. It was a whole, we were like our own little community. And that's what the people, my parents, as crazy as my parents were, the generation of my parents, were trying to teach kids the proper way. And the one thing I learned when I was teaching from my students, from my great students, these millennials, these great millennial kids, who are now adults now, millennials, post-millennials, Generation X, so-called. And they taught me model behavior. If you model positive behavior, you can't go wrong. If you're a teacher You have to stand, you have to model. And that's the word in education. You have to model behavior. Now, if I were to curse my students out and everything else, they would curse me out. All right? If I lost my temper, which at times I did, which wasn't good, but I learned. Don't. Be cool. Be calm. Be rational. I learned this from my students, and over the years, I was teaching. I was a special ed teacher. I was specialized in emotionally disturbed, socially maladjusted. But the last few years of my career, I was teaching in an intermediate school where they let me teach a movies and media course, which I developed myself. And I said, look, I have a special ed license. Give me the special ed kids. They did and they didn't, because that's how the people in charge are. So I modeled my behavior, and the students responded. I respect you, you respect me. And I'm back and forth. And of course, there are times where human beings, we make our mistakes. But back and forth respect. See? Try. And that's what I learned. But guess what? That's gone now. You used to be able to say, look at some of the great role models we have, kids. Theodore Roosevelt, Abraham Lincoln, Dwight Eisenhower, William Howard Taft. All right? And they're all Republicans who I mentioned. These are people who respected the Constitution. They were role models for the way that we should behave if we're at the top. The President of the United States is at the top, so to speak, of the American society, the representative of American society, and should model the positive traits of American society. But what we have now, we have a psychopathic child. Imagine what the rest of the world is saying now. On this little planet that we have to share. Look what's in power over there. A psychopathic, socially maladjusted child who is modeling behavior so negative. I wouldn't want to be a teacher today in the birther bastard era. Oh, the President of the United States can make fun of the handicapped. The special needs. He can make fun of the gay, the lesbian, the transgendered. He could downgrade black people and Hispanic people and Muslim people. He can make fun of and think that he's outsmarting and making fun of and downgrading the Jewish people. He thinks he can get away with spitting on our Constitution, freedom of the press, freedom of speech, the freedom of religion, like the separation of church and state, and the Emoluments Clause in the Constitution, which says that a president can't take gifts, can't get benefits from foreign powers. Here's the kind of behavior that this new president of this era, the stupid era, the Idiocracy era, that's a movie, by the way, Idiocracy, see it. This is what we have. Folks, we could fight this. We could get out of this. We could rise up. We could be the teachers, the good parents, the good role models, and we could rise up legally and peacefully against this birther bastard and his fascist party who want to hurt every person here. He's already started hurting. They want to get rid of, Obamacare, take 20 million people, kick them off of health insurance so the insurance companies can be in charge again. We, folks, have to be the adults. We whether you're my age, 66, or you're younger. We have to be the adults. We have to say, no, 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 no. No, 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 Donnie. No, no, Donnie, you can't steal the oil. No, no, it's not. No, no. The nuclear weapons are dangerous. There are different types of people in this world. You have to respect them. There's a constitution, there's laws. We have to force this creep to model the proper behavior of a civilized society. And if we don't, this country dies.